You're listening to the KATcast, a weekly podcast from the staff you love to listen to each weekday on 94.3 Cat Country. Hilley and Hart and Jordan J. Now, here they are, talking about life, love, and everything mid-Missouri.
Well, today we're going to be talking about something that everybody does. Eating.
Oh, it's one of our favorite activities.
That's absolutely my favorite activity.
Well, interestingly, okay, so I saw this statistic, and it's a couple of different accounts of it, and it varies on the numbers, but generally speaking, 93% of Americans say they want to eat healthy, but only 10% of them say they eat healthy always. Now, that's one thing. And there's another one that said 50% of Americans claim to actively try to eat healthy. They are liars. They are lying. They are lying like a fly with a sty in its eye,
They
man.
try, yeah. Here's the thing, right? Like, I think everyone at some point, they're always like, okay, I got to go on a diet. Like, right. I feel like everyone's got to do some sort of, like, they want to eat healthy, especially towards the beginning of the year, right? Like, everyone's got that, you know,
New Year's resolution
kind of thing, that mindset.
Right.
Let's be real. Most people set their standards too high. That's the problem, is they don't do a realistic goal. They don't do something that they're like, you got to start small when you're talking that. Because, like, seriously, it's hard to make a change in your life, your day-to-day life. So you have to do something that's attainable. You can't be like, absolutely getting rid of all of this bad stuff. It's like, you're not going to.
Yeah.
You know, you might be able to get rid of one bad thing, not all of it. It's not going to happen.
Maybe that's the key. Just say, I'm not going to eat A.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know what I mean?
Maybe if someone's like trying to get healthier, maybe cut back on sugar. Don't eliminate it completely. Cut back on, like, that's because that's an attainable goal in my opinion, right?
Is that though?
I feel
sugar
like
is like everywhere.
It is. That's a tough one. That's
especially processed and all that.
For sure. It's in bread.
Me and sugar,
everything.
We're like this, man.
Oh, dude, I have a sweet. You're talking a sweet tooth right here.
Oh yeah.
So, or you could go about it the way I had to. I was diagnosed first with a pituitary tumor when I was 30.
Yeah.
Wasn't really a lot I could do as far as controlling that through diet. But then a year later, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease. So that's like, hypothyroidism.
Right. But you don't have like bug eyes or anything like that.
No. Wow, I don't know where that symptom came from.
The thyroid, you know what I'm saying.
But a lot of the symptoms I deal with,
yes.
it's the intolerance to cold. Like, I am cold all the time.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
If you were to touch me, or you could even meet me in the dead of summer, 9 times out of 10, if you shake my hand or something, my hands are going to feel cool or very cold.
It's like shaking hands with a dead person.
It is.
It's amazing. And it can be 74 degrees in this studio, and Aaron's like, whew, it's chilly in here. And I'm like, I'm melting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, seriously. So, like, intolerance to cold. My muscles ache all the time. It's kind of like, when I explain to people, it's like, okay, have you ever woken up with the flu? You know, like where your joints and muscles
you feel like you got hit by a car. Yeah, you're so sore.
That's kind of how I feel.
It's like a 24/7 flu for you.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel every day. We kind of joked that when COVID was making the rounds, Erin will never know she has it because she always feels like crap.
Yeah.
And so what I would do, what I would do was I would take my temperature every morning and every evening. That's how I finally figured out when I did have COVID because,
So when you are sick, like, is it hard for you to tell? Like, unless you all of a sudden you're like, oh, I got the sniffles or like something like that.
It is.
Or is this my old friend Hashimoto?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
That's just, is it a flare-up or is it the flu? So, I'll take my temperature. If I have other symptoms I normally don't have, like I normally don't have a runny nose. I normally don't have, a lot of phlegm.
But does it affect your eating?
Okay, so that's what I was getting to. So one of the things that I was tested for with my thyroid and everything, I kept realizing something was weird every time I would eat anything that had wheat in it. So whether I drank a beer, I had a piece of cake, ate pasta, had pizza, whatever the case may be, I would get hives. And I'm like, well, that's not normal. So I couldn't really get, at that point, and again, this was years and years ago, I couldn't really get many doctors to do like a food allergy test or something, I just said, look, I'm noticing these hives, and they're like, well, just don't eat whatever you think's triggering you. And I'm like, well, that's not helpful because that could be anything.
Yeah.
So I started a food journal.
Yeah, for sure.
I had to write down every single thing I ate, and I was the one who figured out the correlation of, oh, wait a minute, it's every time I have something that has, flour in it.
Dear diary, I had some delicious chocolate today.
Chocolate.
And it did not seem to bother me.
Chocolate was A-okay. However, chocolate cake was a big no-no. Yeah, it was that sort of thing. And so when I eliminated wheat, I noticed, a big difference. First off, my joints hurt less. Mm-hmm. It didn't feel like I'd been beaten by a baseball bat, which is not pleasant. But
I've never been beaten by a baseball bat. What kind of life experience do you have, Aaron?
Didn't you grow up with brothers? Those kind of dumb things. But also, I've noticed that, like, if I cut dairy, I feel even better. Soy's not good for your thyroid if you have thyroid issues. If I cut that. But, these are things that are in everything. Right. So it's a lot of label
There's a whole
reading.
lot of no for Aaron.
Yeah. God, if I couldn't have wheat, I would die.
Oh, my God.
100% whole wheat, like grain bread. That's my favorite kind of bread.
So this jerk face sitting across from Mr. Kevin Hilley, he is the biggest enabler because he wants me so bad to be a joiner in whatever they're doing. Whereas I've been, wheat-free, gluten-free, whatever, however you want to associate it, for 15 going on 16 years now. But he'll be like, oh, but can't you just... Yes, if I pop a Benadryl...
Just Benadryl up and
I
join
won't
us.
get the highs. But I will get the after effects where, the next day I have that feeling like I was beaten with a baseball bat.
I love it. Sometimes Aaron would say, like, okay, I took my Benadryl. Is like, I'm not getting fooled anymore.
If I rely on it too much, it starts to fail.
Like, I know what you're doing there, girl.
And I'll have to say to Hilley, dude, I can't. I got to pump the brakes for a while. And I really shouldn't let you... guilt me into joining.
I am the king of junk food. Everybody knows me. There is very, very little. But saying that, our friend Jordan J over here has embarked on a new journey. You and your wife are eating clean.
Yeah, we're eating
whatever
clean.
That
we're
means.
eating clean. So here's the thing, right?
Okay.
Like it's basically like it's kind of like a vegetarian diet, but you don't have it's not fully committed, right? So I'm not a vegetarian. I still
throw a
eat
steak
meat.
or a burger in front of you. You know you're going to be all over that.
I'll still eat some pizza with sausage. I'm still going to eat a steak or chicken every once in a while.
So, okay. Whenever I hear somebody saying that they're eating clean, usually that means nothing processed.
Yes.
But this is a little more extreme.
Yes. So it's basically like if you'd be
you
surprised.
Are my processed food buddy.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
How can you betray me like this?
You would not believe the amount of there's so most food, and the problem is
most food isn't food.
Most
anymore.
food isn't food anymore. It's so processed. It's so chocked with so many chemicals and all this stuff. Like, you ever read the back? Because you understand. You read the back of anything. Can you pronounce half the stuff that's in it? You know what I mean? Like,
I have to share something that happened because I want you to hold your thoughts.
Yeah,
I want
for sure.
But I have to share something that happened. So yesterday, I just needed something real quick to eat. I didn't want to get a full meal, so I said, okay, hey, we're going to walk across the street to the local fast food establishment across the street.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, and I go, okay. I go over, and Jordan goes, all right, I'll take a walk with you. I said, oh, good, all right, there we go. And I look at the menu and go, and I looked at my app, hey, I got a free such and such coming. And he's looking at it and he goes, there's nothing here. I go, how about a salad? He goes, they don't have salads anymore. So he goes, dude, I'll just walk back to work with you. Really?
Yeah, I had to resist
Jordan,
it.
I'm both proud and disappointed in you.
Listen, Kev, I just want you to know, it's not that I didn't want the food. I
feel sad.
I wanted the food, all right? I just had to resist the temptation of... No, it's because, like I said, my wife and I, we've kind of been on this journey of eating clean. We're eating a lot of, not processed foods, a lot, very natural. This is kind of the journey we've kind of going on. So,
how hard are you finding it to do that?
Funny enough, at first, kind of hard, but the more I've done it, not so much actually.
And Aaron, he said to me yesterday, I just feel so good right now.
You do, right?
That's I'm feeling better, and I hate to break that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So I like to fast anyway, which if you don't know what that is, it's you stop eating after a certain point, and intermittent fasting. Yeah. I don't fast for a day or two, right? But basically, you cut out food for hours. I basically last meal could be 7 o'clock. I don't eat probably until 1 p.m. the next day. So.
I fast generally from about 10 p.m. until maybe 5 a.m. That's usually my fasting period.
But I did that because my cousin got me on that, and funny enough, weirdly, you get a lot of natural energy. It's strange, not eating food for so long gives you weird energy. I don't know how it exactly works. But.
So a lot of people have been like, okay, how did you lose the weight? Well, that's one of the things that I did. I mean, there's lots of things, and when my body would start to adapt to one thing, I would do something different. But the intermittent fasting. That was
Yes.
something you and I kind of bonded over because it's like, okay, so now I'm not alone. Jordan's not eating either.
Yeah.
Because it's
I'm the only
weird.
one here eating.
Yeah.
You go into social situations and people are weirded out if you don't eat.
I know, it's strange.
And
Well, because food is a social thing.
well, sure,
It is.
Yeah.
sure, but I can still enjoy somebody's company without eating. Just like I can still enjoy somebody's company without having an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the same thing. But you say how great you feel on this. I know what you're talking about because I did the AIP diet.
Yeah.
Which is autoimmune paleo. So Hashimoto's is an autoimmune disease. And I did it for 90 days just basically to see if I could. And it's very, very strict. Like you cut out, nightshades, which are like peppers and tomatoes. And you cut out dairy, you cut out chocolate, you cut out sugar, processed, all these different things, even down to certain spices. And you look at the list and you're like, I can't go to any restaurant here in town and be like, okay, so I need chicken and could you cook that in coconut oil and not, olive oil or canola or butter or whatever, because
She's here again.
because I'd be like, they're going to spit in my food. I just know. And it's because seriously, it was so ridiculous that I would be frustrated too if I got that request. But I did. I felt so much better. But again, couldn't go out to any restaurants, couldn't really enjoy it. And then my friends would overthink it. Oh, is this stuff you could eat?
I know.
Like they'd send me things ahead of time and I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
No,
See,
I'll just bring my own. It's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
More power to you guys for doing that. Seriously, I'm not judging you. I think that's great. I am like the poster child for
Enabling? Yes.
No,
yes, you are.
for processed food. Like if there was an actual just product called processed food, my face would be on the cover. Okay, it's like I love it. Here's Kevin Hilley. He loves processed food, right? And I would be also. You would think this would be the guy who's like got all kinds of health problems from it.
Yeah.
Well, I've made it to 65 years old, generally incredibly healthy. I mean, and even
Dude, I think you're going to live to be like 2,000.
I don't know because part of it is maybe it's everything so pickled. I don't know. But every time I go into the doctor and he takes all the vitals and everything, he goes, "Man, you're the picture of health. Textbook numbers and everything like that." I go, "How do you eat?" I go, "I eat blah 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 all this junk." He goes, "I don't know."
You're the anomaly.
I am. I'm like the guy who's like, all my friends and family are all going to be dead, and I'm going to be like 320 years old.
That's
like,
what we always joke all the time. I'm like, Kevin's he's got so much processed food in him that he's just preserved. He's
just
preserved,
pickled
man.
what was the thing you told me about the documentary where your body is eating itself?
This is the whole
This
reason
is
why
what
it kicked off.
Jordan's health.
Yeah,
Right.
this is what I got scared to eat healthy. Right, is what actually happened. So
Scared straight.
on Netflix, it's a documentary called "You Are What You Eat," and what they did, it was a study with twins, right? And so basically, like biologically, twins are they're so identical down to they're almost the same person, right? So they could do these studies with them where one eats kind of a regular diet that they gave them. So one eats more of a plant-based diet.
And these are identical twins.
These are identical twins.
Wow.
So one eats a plant-based diet, one eats just a regular diet. Like, they call it the standard American diet, which, funny enough, it's sad, right? That's the
was
standard
the
American diet.
plant-based, like Mediterranean type, was that the idea?
No, so it's basically anything plant-based. So it's like...
So no meat.
Like no meat unless it's plant-based. There's a lot of plant-based meat.
So like you're beyond meat.
You're beyond meat.
Yeah.
You can have like soy, like tofu, stuff like that.
So that's what
right?
he was eating.
Yes. So that's what he was eating. And they found that all these people, man, like their vitals, everything's so much better. Matter of fact, they said if you keep living the lifestyle, everyone that had this clean eating extended their lifespan by 10 to 15 years, which is...
That's a big jump.
That's a huge. That's a significant jump.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's all these other benefits to it as well. But it's crazy.
But the other guy's
not so much. So there's this like microbiome like in your stomach that they found out. They did research on it, and eventually, if you eat all this processed food, it eats through that. And your body basically starts to like consume itself. That's why people that eat clean.
That's why he doesn't gain weight.
That's why people that eat clean live longer because they still have this microbiome. And like when you don't have that, for some reason, your cells start to consume your body. Like it's weird.
Yes.
Okay, so what if you've had a crappy diet your whole life, Kevin?
Right.
And is there a way to reverse it? So if you started eating clean, could you?
It showed that like if you eat clean, you can get some of that back.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just
that's like how they say smokers.
Yeah.
Even if you smoked your whole life, if you stop.
Well, because your
body,
there's some like
Yeah.
there's some. I'm not an expert on it, but there's some like research done where it's like your lungs eventually clean themselves,
How about
but you
that?
have to like stop, doing what you've been doing.
The human body has an amazing capacity for healing
It does.
and revitalization.
Yeah.
So
The human body's absolutely incredible.
it is incredible. Yeah,
It's really cool.
So but again, I don't see me doing that because I just like my
Yeah.
I like my
like I
fast food
said,
and my processed food and everything way too much, and it makes me happy. So
And see, Kevin and I, we've had this conversation when the first grandson came along. I'm like, you can clean up your diet? What? Why? Why would I need to do that? La, 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 la.
Yeah.
And I just keep thinking, dude, you got grandkids. Don't you want extra time with them?
But see, I don't know that that's going to add extra time. That's what I'm saying, because if I was kind of coming to the end of, oh boy, all this stuff is catching up to him, there would be some kind of sign right now, I would think. And I mean, blood pressure and all, what's if you eat a lot of candy, what's it called?
Blood pressure. Blood sugar or something like that.
The triglycerides.
Oh,
and all,
yeah, okay,
all
yeah.
those
Like
numbers
fatty
are like,
foods. That's not necessarily candy.
well, no, but that's a number.
But I
though,
guess
a health,
that's sugar. I
it's a
get
health
what you're
thing.
saying. Yeah,
but
yeah.
all those are always great and everything. So I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that that's not good what you're doing, but maybe I am.
And here's the thing too, and here's
know.
another thing I live by too, like everything in moderation, right?
Well, sure,
so like
except moderation.
Yeah, except because I mean, even a lot of good things bad for you, really. I mean, that's the thing. So every once in a while, like my wife and I, we were like, okay, we still will eat like something that's like we've been eating really good for a long time. We'll have one meal that's like not as good, right?
After we're done recording the podcast here today, we're going out to eat Mexican.
Yeah,
but
after I let Magnus out.
Trust me, I'll find something to eat. I can find something to eat there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
Let's face it, Jordan. Hilley's going to bury us both.
I know.
But I would do it in the most sensitive way possible.
No, you won't. I told you, if I were to pass away, I need you to roast me at my funeral.
Oh, I will.
Yes.
Totally.
I have.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just been on this kind of kick of like trying to eat cleaner. Like I've been really addicted to soda for a long time.
Is your wife liking that too?
Yeah, she really is.
Happy with it?
Dude, you'd be surprised. Like honestly, like as weird as like plant-based meats and stuff sound like, dude, you should try it. I would be. I guarantee
it's come a long way. I mean, because I've dabbled some, but it's weird because
I'd be
some
willing
of it.
to try it just to taste it.
If you would do a blind taste test, I bet you wouldn't even know.
I would love to do that.
Well, and it's funny because my mom was like, "Oh, you should really try these plant-based meats," because she's worried about the hemochromatosis because that was one of the reasons my blood clotted so bad. But what's ironic and weird, and I guess it's not when you think about it, so many of those processed meats, since they're plant-based, they're high in iron.
They are.
Are they high in sodium too? For flavor?
No. Funny enough, a lot of them actually still low sodium.
Really?
Now you do have to be careful with some of because some of the plant-based meat, you still have to do some research because like that Beyond Meat, as good as it is it healthy? I don't know, right? Because it's like the lab. I don't know. You have to be careful with some.
I would suspect that plant-based or I don't even know if it was plant-based or whatever, but non-meat type foods, the alternatives, have come a long way, like say in the last 50 years. Because I remember when I was a kid, my mom, this was during the 70s, she tried, because I think it was cheaper, she tried giving you something called Joshua steaks. You ever hear of those?
That sounds made up.
No, I'm telling you. And it was called Joshua steaks. I don't know what it was. It wasn't meat.
Was it a recipe out of Good Housekeeping?
No, but it was. I guess it was frozen. I don't know. But it was made from something else, like maybe plants or maybe, I don't know what. But anyway, it was horrible. I mean, we took a couple of bites and we were like, Mom, yuck, this is awful. And even my mom was like, yeah, this is pretty bad. We're going back to real meat.
Not just horrible, but horrible.
You ever read like the back of something and it says like natural flavor? That's not, you know what that actually is?
That means not natural.
That's not natural.
No,
it's like
it's nothing natural.
It's derived from something natural, but like the process and the extraction of what they do, it's like it's not natural.
Dirt is natural.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
Well, and even
natural
things,
flavor
from nature.
Sprinkle some dirt on them.
Right.
Even just things like black bean burgers.
Yeah.
Those have come a long way.
Oh yeah.
Because again, when all this first happened 15 years ago, I thought, oh, okay, well, I'll give this a whirl. And at first I was like, oh,
yeah,
I can't do this. But within like the last probably 5 to 10 years, I'm like, okay, all right, they taste way better than I remember.
They really do. And I love black beans. And that's what's easy too, is I love like a lot of vegetables and a lot of this stuff anyway that's like,
yeah, no.
So it's like, it's not hard for me to do.
Out of me and my two brothers, my mom always said you were the best veggie eater, even though it's like, I hate cabbage, I hate tomatoes. But other than that, there's really not a vegetable or fruit that I won't eat.
Yeah.
I don't like bananas by themselves.
Oh, I like bananas. I don't like bananas in anything. I don't like banana bread, stuff like that.
See, I'll eat banana. Yeah, banana bread. But just a banana. Ugh.
And Jordan has a rule. He doesn't like pie because you don't like what warm.
Here's the thing. I don't. I think
cooked
I think cooked fruit is like a cardinal sin.
The way he describes it, cooked fruit. It just sounds so unappealing.
Cooked fruit is a cardinal sin, man. It makes the here's the thing. It changes the flavor so much. Yes. It makes it goopy and mushy.
But hang on.
You got to agree, right? It's not like,
but I love
jam?
it.
So here's the thing, right? I do, but again,
mix it all.
Like I do like jam.
I mean, it's basically kind of jam in a crust.
It is, but it's like warm. I like jam cold. I never eat like jam warm.
What if you cooked it, right? You made your pie, you put it in the fridge.
Ooh,
then you had a slice.
Then you have cold pie.
I still can't. You know what though? It changes the flavor enough for me. I can't do it.
Hey, cold pie. It's underrated, man, because your ice cream does not melt.
It's like cold pizza.
Yeah.
People like cold pizza.
I like pecan pie. Again, there's not really fruit in it.
No, there's no fruit.
There's no fruit in that.
Fruit.
Pecan is a vegetable? What is it?
It's a nut.
It's a nut. What's wrong with you?
Hey, it's plant-based.
Oh, there you go.
Well, I was going to say, that's probably not, since you're all trying to watch stuff, I mean, a pecan pie is basically corn syrup.
It's corn syrup.
Sugar,
it's loaded with sugar. Yeah.
That doesn't sound like clean eating to me.
Hey, listen.
Butter and vanilla.
I was saying I like pecan pie. I don't eat it all the time.
Well, we should somehow put this podcast into a time capsule and see which of the last of us actually opens it and say, well, look at that. Kevin did die at 75. Oh, Aaron died at 50.
47.
Here's Jordan J at 92. I ate clean.
Dude, you can even have ice cream still on that diet I have. Because
really?
with Kelly, they have like cashew milk and like or oat milk, like ice cream.
It's a special milk, though.
But listen, it's insane. It's so good.
I've never tasted almond milk, goat milk. I've only had cow milk in my whole life.
Jordan, here's the stipulations. Oh, I'd try it.
Yeah.
If someone else is buying
I would.
it.
Yes. If somebody else is buying, I would
And that's
try
a whole
it.
other thing,
I tell you
too,
what,
right?
We'll have your whole blind taste test if and when you buy your own stuff, and then we'll blind taste it.
And that's the
Never
thing,
gonna
too. Like
happen
the bad stuff is like, it's cheap for you to buy. Like anything healthy.
Well, if it's something really cheap, I'll buy it and try it. Yeah, okay,
anything healthy is
we'll do a
way
video.
expensive for you,
We'll
which
do a
is
video
just,
with
isn't
it.
that?
Okay.
Yeah, but
that's not right.
all of the stuff we're supposed to be eating is the most expensive stuff.
Probably because it makes you live longer. And they're
I don't
like,
know.
we don't want that.
After all this food talk, man, I'm hungry.
I am too, actually.
So let's go to lunch. There you go. It's the latest Cat Country KATcast.
That's right. And you can actually get us wherever you get your podcast. We can finally say that.
Yes.
You've been listening to the KATcast, your weekly dose of fun from the staff you know and love on 94.3 Cat Country. Click subscribe and never miss an episode. Share it on social media and tell your friends with 94.3 Cat Country.